We're on.
Thank you. All right. First order of business is to call the meeting to order, and I'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. December 11th, 2019. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And would anybody like to do an invocation? Start with roll call. Jerry Harris? Here. Robert Rodriguez here. Alan Smith? Here. Candace Spears?
Yes.
Bill Starr?
Here.
Fire Chief Rose? Here. Thank you. And would anybody like to add any additions to the monthly agenda? No? All right. So I believe we did not approve October's agenda, is that correct? I'm sorry, the minutes?
Yeah, we did.
So we're only doing November's. So I
Just
saw one.
November.
Yeah. Okay.
October
okay.
had been approved.
Yeah, we approved
Okay.
October.
Okay, thank you. So if everybody's read November's minutes.
There is one correction.
Okay, so
Just
go ahead.
There's a space missing between two words.
It's a simple.
Oh, it's a grammar one?
Yeah.
So you want to go ahead and approve it with just the correction of
With
the
that
space?
one correction.
Yes.
Okay,
And I'll get the correction and send it out to you.
okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve November 13th, 2019's agenda.
Make a motion?
I'm sorry, minutes?
Second.
Second, okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much. And I'll turn it over to Bill with our financial report, please.
Okay, just 1 second. We have a total deposit of $26,350.19. We wrote checks for $7,732.22. That leaves our checking balance of $14,088.96. We had $21.46 in change. The money market account here is a little wrong because I deposited another 40 some odd thousand, so we're up to around 210,000 on our money market at this time. I would like to have approval to pay the bills.
Move to pay the bills.
I'll second it. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I'll turn it over to Jerry, our communication report, please.
All right. Posted updates, approved documents, meeting videos, minutes, water calls, treasurer's reports. Scanned the website, including emails for viruses, deleted any that were present. There were no apparent viruses in all district email accounts, none on the website. There were several phishing emails, such as one that came from Russia. So hopefully you're all deleting those emails. There was also an unusual one that I'm not sure if it's a scam email or not, that claimed that the Lookingglass store received an award
Yeah.
for 2019 Best of Roseburg convenience stores. And I don't know if that's a scam email. It was a suspicious email address that it came from, so I'm just not certain. But I think the only way you could possibly get infected from it is if some kind of a virus were embedded in the graphic that was included. So if you tried to open up the graphic or download it to your computer, possibly it could be a problem. Right, updated volunteers training schedule. We're coming to 2020 now, next month, so I'm going to have to get the new updates for January up on the website. I did receive them.
Yeah, we had a meeting at night and filled out the whole year, so some of the stuff changed, so you probably got that to the industry.
Yeah, I recently got the 2020 updates. All right, meeting videos on YouTube channel now legally must indicate if they are, quote, made for kids or, quote, not made for kids, unquote, in order to comply with the new Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. So the videos will have something. I can check it off for all our videos to say that they are not specifically made for kids. Because if they're made for kids, there are, protections you have to have in place regarding the videos. But ours are not specifically made for kids, so I can just do for our entire YouTube channel that all the videos are on it are not made for kids. So that should be pretty simple to do. Proposed change, I still haven't heard from DFN about the updated PHP version, because I want to get the more recent one for better security, but I need to make sure that's going to be compatible with WordPress that we use for the content management. I am going to need to be paying for the 4-year renewal of the district's website domain name, and that was included in the budget, so I don't believe we need a motion to approve that since the budget was approved. In the budget, it was approved for up to $60, so we can do a 4-year renewal for a total of $51.96, which is within the budget. If anybody has suggestions for ideas for improving the website, please let me know, or if you notice any mistakes or problems with it. Communications with agencies, received text from fire department 911 dispatches, received email newsletters from SDAO, received notices from DFPA. Communications with the fire department, list of October water calls and reported received and chief. Communications with community, posted public notice for December board meeting and the news review on the district website and next door website and at the fire station. And I have occasionally gotten replies from the public notice post on next door, people thanking us for doing that. So I think it is worth continuing to do that. Communications equipment, updated software on district computer. Any questions?
Thank you, Jerry. Public comment. Any comments? Yeah, you good? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Rhodes with Fire Chief's report.
For December 11th, this is for November, our runs for November, 14 total calls, 3 medical aids, 1 structure fire, 4 motor vehicle accidents, 4 natural cover fires responses, 1 public safety assist or lift assist. For natural cover fires, we had both 2 were automatic aid with District 2 over in the Melrose area, and the structure fire was mutual aid 10-mile area. I think we're at about 147 calls for the year, which is a little bit down, but we had a real light year for us anyway on wildland fires in our area. So other than wildland calls, we've been maybe even a little bit busier than usual, but that's our total so far. Training for this month was forcible entry. It's one of the requirements we do with the state. So we had 2 nights. It took us to get through the lesson plan and tools. And one night, Roseburg Fire Department brought out a trailer. It's got a prop with a steel door all welded up, and you get to force entry through it and break through locks and stuff. So it was really good training for our kids. And I'm gonna write a letter of appreciation for the kid that came out, the young man that came out and taught. Really good kid, Chris Cooper, I believe his name is. The 4th night, we had our OSHA safety meeting and equipment inventory and maintenance. I got 2 firefighters attended special training this month for the county critical incident stress management team, and they're both counselors now with the team. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. One of our former firefighters returned from Sutherland. Really glad to have him. He's living up by Reston Road, so it gives us somebody coming from that way now, so I'm really happy about that. I got another one that's suspended, and I just want to let you guys know that we have to do background checks on all the people, and we're pretty tight about it. And I think my firefighters are even worse than I am on getting rid of people or bringing in people that stuff. So we have a firefighter that was arrested for something that's not, DPSST would not consider it something that would keep them from being a firefighter or anything else. But we suspended him just so that until he has his day in court, whether he's guilty or not, then we'll figure out what to do with him. If he's not, I'm gonna have to talk to my captains to see if we want to have him back or not. We're inviting him to participate in training still, but he can't respond on any calls or anything. So that's just how we deal with that kind of stuff, and I just want to let you guys know that. The explorers we have participated in all our tasks. This, for equipment, the Spire grant generator we got, the state rep came down, we inventoried it and labeled it and recorded all the numbers. He's gonna have a quarterly form that we're gonna have to return to the state that's still here and that we're taking care of it and everything. There's a maintenance schedule on it's pretty sparse, every 250 hours for oil and stuff, so we're gonna actually do more than what the maintenance schedule does, because that generator is probably gonna end up being ours eventually. So it was supposed to be a 30K generator, and when it came here, I took down the serial numbers and stuff, and it's a 45 kilowatt. And he goes, oh, yeah, they made a mistake on a couple of them. So we get it. And they placed the value at around $29,000 for that thing, so it's a nice generator. I'm working on access to the state and federal access property, and I need to have someone on the board sign that maybe after the meeting tonight. They don't want it from the fire chief, they want it from a member of the board to sign it as a contact. 1030, engine 1030, 1031, and then the water tender all had their annual maintenance done with, there was a few minor repairs they did, but they're all doing really well. And this year they certified them with a DOT sticker on the road, so we've never done that before, but they do that as a service. 1080 had maintenance, our new brush truck also. It had about 6,000 miles on it now. We did the oil and stuff, and the defroster is not working, so we're trying to get that done before. It's kind of a pain when we're going down the road, it's all foggy in there. 1080's new off-road tires with the VFA grant, we got them installed, and then they're more of an off-road. The combination tread tires that were still almost brand new went on to our medical unit because they're the same size. And then we took the old tires off of 1070, mounted 2 on rims because we didn't have spares, and then the other 4 got discarded. So anyway, all of our smaller vehicles have new tires and spares now. And then we 1090 with all the wiring for a console and the sirens and everything, we took it down to Good Vibrations to have it finished off, and they did a really nice job. They're good at that stuff. So on inventory, we're continuing the placement of all the equipment. All the VFA equipment is in, and right now I'm gathering all the receipts and invoices for it. It's due January 15th, 2020. We should have it done here in the next week or two. It's going to be done before January 1st. And then, so that we're due a reimbursement of $9,394 back to our equipment fund. Let's see, for facility, we did the station, with our safety meeting, we go through all the OSHA equipment and the occupational safety equipment here, so we did that. I met with Saban Electric about emergency power for the station. I think we talked last month, the USDA grant is not going to come through, but I did submit a safety and security grant to SDAO that would match our budgeted funds for that generator. So if and when we get that, which we should know pretty fast, we hope to put a permanent pad-mounted generator here for emergency power, and then still have that other generator for use in the community, or use for us also, or use within the other fire departments in Douglas County also. I printed out just a couple sheets from SDAO in case some people want to look at it. But it's our insurance, liability insurance for next year. Actually, insurance went up average at 10% through the industry, I guess, this year, but ours went up $100. One reason for that is the value of our vehicles is down a little bit. It was kind of inflated. And let's see, the value on our property, the assessed value did go up, so that little part of the insurance. But this thing, this sheet here is a comparison report that kind of shows you what it was last year, right at the beginning on the left, and what it is this year and how much it changed. And it was like 7,211, and last year was 7,175, so we actually did pretty good. Another thing that happened is this is our 5th year anniversary since we initially signed up with SDAO. So now we're part of the longevity program, so they rate lock our insurance. You can't go up more than 5% as long as we're in with them, and then we get a rebate. So in January, we're due a rebate of $498 since we've been a 5-year customer. And then that'll also be on January of 2021 also. So
Have you had any claims or anything?
we had a workers' comp claim about 2 years ago. We have never had a property claim at all. And, so that's part of the reason they're being very nice to us. That's been a real benefit. I can't say anything bad about them since I've been there. Counting all the training we had and everything else they've done for us, has been. We're actually going to be spending less on our insurance this year than last year by the time the rebate comes in. I have the whole policy here. If the board ever has any questions, we'll be here in the thing about what we have insured and why. And Jerry had asked me a question before the meeting about indemnity and crime and indemnification of the board, and we have that coverage through our, they put it under the crime policy, but it covers all that kind of stuff also. So, where are we at here? Okay, so the actual invoice, this is a early one. I just got to go through it and make sure that the numbers are right, and then the actual invoice will come in right after January 1st, and we'll pay that in January. Let's see, new employee assistance program, part of as a result of that policy we're going to be talking about here later, we had to have some contacts and stuff for our employees and programs for reporting and for dealing with any of the problems we would have through sexual harassment or discrimination, that kind of thing. So SDAO has an employee assistance program, which all the professional fire departments in the state are already members of, and they open it up to volunteer firefighters also. So we enrolled in that this month, and we've given we went through this at the last meeting along with the proposed policy with all of our firefighters. And this program is also available to the board members and any of the families of our firefighters also. And it covers adoption, child care, financial planning, consumer rights, mental health, divorce, home ownership, legal issues, loss and grief, stress, family violence, wills, and legal forms, and all that kind of stuff. And you actually have an 800 number that you're good 24 hours a day. They have counselors you can talk to. They have people here, maybe not here in Roseburg, but maybe Medford or Eugene, that you could actually get a couple hours of counseling without charge the first 2 times, for specific problems. And it's a pretty good program. So anyway, I'm really happy that, again, our insurance company backed us on this, and this is a service we can not only provide us, but we can provide you guys that if you're interested in that too. You can get on the site and look all over it. It's a pretty awesome site. Along with that, we have our National Volunteer Fire Council, which we're members of. We got posters all over the walls here, but they have a 1-800 helpline too. If anything happened here that someone didn't want to report it through our policy, they have a number they can call to report things like that also. There's a new countywide critical incident stress management help team in place. Like 2 of our firefighters are counselors on that team now. They've been through a variety of state training. And there's another class coming up where they're going to be doing like mentoring. Within the departments, you'll have mentors that can deal with stuff. Say we have a real bad call or something, and we can start it here and before the full team comes from other parts of the county. So we've been involved in that since the start of this thing, and I think we're gonna be part of a pilot project on the initiative next month too. Let's see, it's time again for FEMA grant applications. It looks like it's gonna be around the 1st of January, they're gonna open up. I'm meeting with District 2 tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, about our SCBA replacement that we put in for before. And that should all be done and wrapped up by the end of the year also and ready for submittal. We're gonna have a contract we're gonna have to sign, so I'll probably bring that to the board next month because we have to have a mutual aid kind of contract because we're all gonna be sharing a large clump of money if we get it. It's probably in the neighborhood of $750,000. Our share of it's gonna be about $135,000 and the match would be about 3% of that. So our commitment, I think we budgeted this year was like $14,000 match or something. So I hope we'll have to do that next year's budget. I'm planning on keep on putting in for new fire truck, for a new second engine. FEMA this year did not do very many vehicles. They were doing mostly protective gear and that kind of stuff. And they're going to be putting out a memo here giving us a guide of what their priorities are next year. So I'm kind of waiting to see what that is, to see if we fit into their parameters or what we can get.
Are you looking to buy new or replacement?
Yeah,
Or
you have to buy a new if it's a FEMA grant. If we don't get a FEMA grant, we're going to buy something used in the future. I can tell you that. The miscellaneous, the 2019 taxes started coming like Bill said, we had about $44,000 coming in already. So we're looking pretty good on that. One thing I didn't put under miscellaneous in case anybody's interested, our annual Christmas thing, we usually do adopt a family or something like that. We had met with Oriole, the principal at the school. They didn't really have a specific family they wanted to identify this year. So the Grange had done a deal where they gave 10 food gift cards from Sherms for that the principal can choose to distribute through the school. So we are going to do 10 Walmart gift cards for either toys or clothing that the principal will also be able to choose, so they can spread it out through the school that way. So that's how that's going to go. I've had a few donations from the community already, and we're kind of acting as a conduit for not only the community's money, but our association has promised to match up to $500. So we'll be able to do a pretty good donation to the school.
Steve, I'd just like to have clarification for purposes of the video and our guests that the donations that you're talking about are coming from your Volunteers Association,
Right.
not from
Association.
district
Right,
funds.
it's not district funds, that's absolutely correct. And that's money we've fundraised for before, or we've had donations for other things. Or we fundraise on like at the parades when we've done soul burgers, that kind of stuff. That's where that money comes from.
Can I ask for clarification on this? Because that wasn't what I had read in here. So gift cards for groceries, correct?
Ours are gonna be Walmart gift cards.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
those are
just,
gonna buy
okay,
it.
just, okay. And, so those are based on donations and,
And ours.
matching funds from
Our
where?
firefighter association, we're gonna buy 10 $50 gift cards, a total of $500. So whatever, we're gonna match whatever amounts between the community as we go through, plus that'll be a total of $500. Our association approved it to pay up to $500, and then that's the minimum we're gonna give to the schools.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Yes, sir.
I think that's it.
Thank you. All right, with new business, I'm gonna turn it over to Jerry. We're gonna
Can I have old business for a minute, please?
do. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Oh, I'll start passing that.
I got a little problem going on. I need somebody to go down and take care of the bank because we're running out of people to sign checks.
I got mine in today, but Brett wasn't there.
Oh,
But anyway, She can't sign even the regular checks, he can't sign them.
Because,
Don't ask me, I don't know, I
I've
went
been
in
there
and
three
talked to him.
times to talk to Brett, and then he keeps saying, I gotta have minutes, and gotta.
but we put it on the minutes
Twice.
3 or 4 months ago, so
I
what
know.
doesn't he get?
I don't know, I don't know, I've gone in and talked to him, and I gave you guys all those things, and he said, I guess, Robert, you hadn't taken it in yet, but I can understand.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I have mine in now.
and she has her
That-
now,
now for
that is for the
Donation.
donations.
Okay?
Yeah.
But we don't,
Separate.
these two have not been able to sign the checks yet. So I would appreciate if you could find out, go down and talk to them, or I'll try to get it.
I went today.
Well, let's put it on, let's just put this on the record, that Candace and Alan both have the approval of the board to be signers on the checks, whether it's first or second signature on the check. So if we put that in there and these minutes go to him, it's gotta be approved because it's in black and white.
Right, okay. Another thing, we're running low on checks, and I talked to Trista today, and she can order them through Costco a lot cheaper than we can through the bank.
A lot cheaper.
And she said if it's all right, she will order the checks for us, because she knows what we need, and she will just add it to her Wheeler's bookkeeping bill, if that's okay, and so I have to bring it up to the board. So if that's okay, I'll go ahead and tell her to order the checks.
Cause they're quite a bit cheaper than the bank, a lot cheaper.
So, I think that's it, but I want to make sure I covered it.
So make sure we put in the minutes.
I am doing that.
Okay, you got Candace Spears and Alan Smith. Oh, you might as well include in the minutes that I will be removed.
I said that.
Do you have to go in to do that?
And I went to the county and I don't have to do it.
Sign off.
This your last meeting, or?
I'm leaving Saturday or Monday.
But you are submitting
For
a
a time.
letter of
I have it.
resignation.
I have it.
Resignation.
I have it, yeah. I got transferred a lot faster than I thought, a lot faster.
They want to get you out of there, huh?
Well,
What is your job?
Chill the fast track.
You know what the job
I'm
is?
gonna be part-time.
Huh?
I'm gonna be part-time.
Just
I'm
part-time?
willing, I called and I said I'm willing to step down and then he said,
I'm sorry, but we need to
We'll
discuss
do it
that after the
after,
meeting.
wait for Candace to start.
Okay, let me just mention that since I'm having some problems, Steve agreed to do the reading of the first reading of the new policy.
Okay, that's fine.
We're gonna do that first before the other one. You're gonna be the operations man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get that all in there between you, Candace?
I think I have it. I just want to put the account numbers on there again, but I have to get those from a different set of minutes. You can read this set of minutes.
Do we need, we start B?
No, I'm waiting for, make sure she's done, so she can add that, so they don't say for now.
The check, the business checking account, and also for the donation, savings account.
We'll have to make shorter policies in the future.
I have the last four numbers on the minutes from last
Last one we did.
month and the month
I think I
before.
got that somewhere.
But I don't know which is the business and which is the donation.
Well, we
So-
haven't got a donation yet.
Oh.
That was that stack of paper I gave you to take in.
Mhm.
I could have done it, but it had all your social security there, I didn't want responsibility.
I think we got those in.
I got all those in.
Okay, so we're just waiting for him to give us an account number for our donation account. And the checking account is, we only have one checking account, and that has, you know,
Okay.
he knows which one that is.
No one else knows what to say if he's not there.
Yeah. he
Yeah,
knows.
they just go, we'll give it to Brett.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so we good there?
hope so.
is the first reading. It's 4 pages, but it's not solid, so maybe that'll be good. But this prevention of workplace discrimination, harassment, and retaliation, public sector, in parentheses, policy. And this came about for a new state law that not only identifies workplace discrimination, harassment, and retaliation, but it defines it, and also we have to provide a program to not treat it, but give people an opportunity to report it. And it's much more detailed than all these places. So the Lookingglass Rural Fire District, LRFD, is committed to a work environment in which all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. Each individual has the right to work in a professional atmosphere that promotes equal employment opportunities and prohibits unlawful discriminatory practices, including harassment. Therefore, the LRFD expects that all relationships among persons will be respectful and professional, free of bias, prejudice, and harassment in the workplace, and that work-related events or any activities coordinated by or through the organization. This policy applies to all employees, elected officials, board or committee members, volunteers, explorers, and any other person we interact with in the course of accomplishing the work of the organization. The Lookingglass Rural Fire District has developed this policy to ensure that all employees can work in an environment free from unlawful harassment, discrimination, and retaliation. The LRFD will make every reasonable effort to ensure that all concerned are familiar with these policies and are aware that any complaint in violation of these policies will be investigated and resolved appropriately. Discrimination, harassment, and retaliation are not acceptable. Any employee who has questions or concerns about these policies should talk with our primary contact, the fire chief, and/or as an alternate, the board president. Equal employment opportunity. It is our policy to ensure equal employment opportunity without discrimination or harassment on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, age, disability, marital status, citizenship, national origin, genetic information, or any other characteristic protected by law. So that paragraph's gotten a lot bigger over the years.
Covers it all.
Retaliation. We encourage reporting of all perceived incidents of discrimination or harassment. It is the policy of the LRFD to promptly and thoroughly investigate such reports. We prohibit retaliation against any individual who reports discrimination or harassment and/or participates in an investigation of such reports. Sexual harassment. Sexual harassment constitutes discrimination and is illegal under federal and state laws. For the purpose of this policy, sexual harassment is defined as in the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission guidelines as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature when, for example, submission to such conduct is made either explicitly or implicitly a term of or condition of an individual's employment. B, submission to or rejection of such conduct by an individual is used as a basis for employment decisions affecting such individual. Or C, such conduct has a purpose or effect of unreasonably interfering with an individual's work performance or creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 recognizes 2 types of sexual harassment: A, quid pro quo, and B, hostile work environment. Sexual harassment may include a range of subtle and not so subtle behaviors and may involve individuals of the same or different gender. Depending on the circumstances, these behaviors may include unwanted sexual advances or requests for sexual favors, sexual jokes and innuendo, verbal abuse of a sexual nature, commentary about an individual's body, sexual prowess or sexual deficiencies, leering, whistling, or touching, insulting or obscene comments or gestures, display in the workplace of sexually suggestive objects or pictures, and other physical, verbal, or visual conduct of a sexual nature. Oregon law provides further protection from sexual assault, defined as unwanted conduct of a sexual nature that is inflicted upon a person or compelled to the use of physical force, manipulation, threat, or intimidation. Harassment. Harassment is on the basis of any other protected characteristic is also strictly prohibited. Under this policy, harassment is verbal, written, or physical conduct that denigrates or shows hostility or aversion toward an individual because of his or her race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, national origin, age, disability, marital status, citizenship, genetic information, or any other characteristic protected by law, or that of his or her relatives, friends, or associates, and that A, has a purpose of effect of creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. B, has the purpose or effect of unreasonably interfering with an individual's work performance. Or C, otherwise adversely affects an individual's employment opportunities. Harassing conduct includes labels, insults, or negative stereotyping, threatening, intimidating, or hostile acts, demeaning jokes, and written or graphic materials that belittles or shows hostility or dislike toward an individual or group, that is placed on walls or elsewhere on the employer's premises, or circulated in the workplace, on company time, or using company equipment by email, phone, including voice messages, text messages, social networking sites, or other means. That's gotten bigger. Reporting an incident of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation. The Lookingglass Rural Fire District encourages reporting of all perceived incidents of discrimination, harassment, or retaliation, regardless of the offender's identity or position. Individuals who believe that they have been the victim of such conduct should discuss their concerns with the fire chief and/or board president. See the complaint procedure described below. In addition, we encourage individuals who believe they are being subjected to such conduct to promptly advise the offender that their behavior is unwelcome and to request that it stop. Often this action alone will resolve the problem. We recognize, however, that an individual may prefer to pursue the matter through complaint procedures. Following receipt of a complaint or concern, management will follow up every 3 months for 1 year to ensure no further concerns or retaliation are experienced. And that's part of the new law. Employees should not wait for the management follow-up to share related experience. If an employee would like to discontinue the follow-up process, a request must be submitted in writing to the fire chief and/or board president. Internal complaint procedure. Individuals who believe they have been the victims of conduct prohibited by this policy or believe they have witnessed such conduct should discuss their concerns with the fire chief and/or board president. We encourage employees to document the events, associated dates, and potential witnesses. The Lookingglass Rural Fire District encourages the prompt reporting of complaints or concerns so that quick and helpful action can be taken before working relationships become irreparably damaged. Early reporting and intervention have proven to be the most effective method of resolving actual or perceived incidents of harassment. However, complaints and concerns may be brought forward, this is a new part of the law, up to 4 years after the date of the alleged violation. We encourage employees to document the events, associated dates, and potential witnesses. Any reported allegations of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation will be investigated quickly. The investigation may include individual interviews with the parties involved and, where necessary, with individuals who may have observed the events or may have other relevant knowledge. The LRFD will maintain confidentiality throughout the investigatory process to the extent possible, while conducting a thorough investigation and initiating appropriate corrective action when warranted. Misconduct constituting harassment, discrimination, or retaliation will be dealt with appropriately. For example, responsive action may include training, referral to counseling, and/or corrective action such as warning, reprimand, withholding of a promotion, reassignment, temporary suspension without pay, or termination as the Lookingglass Rural Fire District finds appropriate under the circumstances. False and malicious complaints of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation, as opposed to complaints that, even if erroneous, are made in good faith, may be the subject of appropriate disciplinary action. External complaint procedures. We encourage employees to bring their concerns and complaints to the organization, and understand at times this may not be the choice of the employer. Below is a list of external complaint options. Please reach out to the preferred choice to determine the appropriate timelines for their processes. Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries at the following web address: https www.oregon.gov/space CRCOMPL.ASPX. Civil or criminal action. In these circumstances, a notice of claim must be provided to us in accordance with ORS 30.275. So they have the ability to either go through the Oregon Bureau of Labor or go through local law enforcement or state. Employment agreements. No employee will be required or invited to sign an agreement requiring the non-disclosure of information related to discrimination or sexual assault as a condition of employment. Continued employment, promotion, compensation, or the receipt of benefits. An employee may request this type of agreement, and upon request will be provided at least 7 days to change their mind. Additional employee support services. Employees may choose to use other support services throughout the following instances related to concerns and complaints. The organization provides the following for additional assistance. Counseling and advice. SDAO/SDIS Public Safety EAP with the phone numbers. Phone numbers public 1-888-327-1060. Legal resources. SDAO/SDIS Pre-Loss Legal 1-800-285-5461. NVFC Support and Counseling Services 1-888-731-FIRE, which is 3473. And Provident/SDIS Employee Assistance Program EAP program 1-855-207-1747. Page 4, that's it. So the detail on all that, by the way, is because the new state law requires all the definitions of what's going to be handled, and the time, especially the timelines have changed. So, and then a place where they can go to get help or complaint. So, that's reading one.
Okay, I have a recommendation to make for next month's meeting for the resolution of approval of this new policy, that the resolution indicate that this policy is effective retroactively to January 1st, 2020, because that is the effective date actually required by the state law.
And I'll let the board know, although this policy hasn't been formally adopted, that we went over this in a meeting this week or last week? This last week. Last Thursday, where we went through the entire policy. There's an accompanying form that'll be part of the policy also. That's every employee or volunteer that comes here from now on will have this form. They'll sign it and put it in the file when they join, saying that they acknowledge that they know what the policy is and how to do it, and they sign the date on it. So.
And if they're actually the accused, they can be held liable.
That's all in here. Yeah.
So you're saying for January 1st, 2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
That the resolution will indicate retroactive.
We got real short notice on this. There's no way we could read it twice, and that sounds like a great solution. I don't anticipate they're going to come out. We have the intent of doing this as fast as we can. And,
Steve, on the acknowledgement form, do you think that needs to be included in the policy, or is that just an internal document?
It really isn't part of the policy. It's just an internal document.
Just an internal document. Okay.
That actually came from the insurance company. They preferred that we had that form.
The resolution will state.
Pardon?
The resolution for adoption of the policy will state.
Oh,
Since I'm sitting here, do you need me? Since I'm here, do you need me here?
I don't think so. Can you stay for a few minutes?
No.
No?
You need back there?
No, really.
I found Lindsay and Andrew here.
Okay, all right, we'll see.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Jerry for the first reading of the amended operation manual.
All right. This is our operations manual that we keep in the office. And this was approved several years ago and has been amended previously, but now it includes our various policies and other procedures for how the district and department operate. Now that we're working on a new policy, the operations manual will need to be amended so that it will include the new policy. So it's just a few very simple things that we need to do. And I'm sorry, I don't think I printed it out for our visitors, but all board members and chiefs should have it. If you want to see it, I can show it to you later. But basically, in the table of contents, we need to insert a new item, 3I, prevention of workplace discrimination, harassment, and retaliation, in parentheses, public sector policy. Next item, in table of contents, renumber current items 3I through 3M, so they get changed to 3J through 3M. So that allows for the insertion of a new policy. And in the body of that, shouldn't say policy, the body of the operations manual, insert new item 3I, prevention of workplace discrimination, harassment, and retaliation, parentheses, public sector policy, and in brackets, appendix H. And again, it should say in the body of the operations manual, renumber current items 3I through 3M to 3J through 3N. And then in the body of the operations manual, renumber appendix H through appendix L to appendix J through appendix M. And that would take care of it.
And I have been here, I'm gonna see if I can go
So I'll make the corrections for the second reading of this, where on the last three items it will say the body of the operations manual instead of saying the body of the policy. Any questions or
Date on that?
anybody know of any other corrections?
Date on that?
I'm sorry?
The date on this is December 11th, 2020.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking ahead.
Good catch.
Okay.
Good, Jerry?
If nobody has anything else to add?
Okay. I noticed on my agenda, I left off second opportunity for comments from the crowd. Anything you'd like to say? Okay, thank you. President report. If you were here last week, you know my wife taking a position somewhere else. So at the end of this meeting, after I signed the checks for a bill, because I can.
Already took care of it.
Okay, good. Okay, then I don't have to do that. I'm just gonna read, to whom it may concern, I regret to inform the board, the fire chief, along with the citizens who voted me into office in the Lookingglass Rural Fire Department, that I'll be leaving Douglas County and I'll have to resign my position on the board effective at the end of the meeting. I've enjoyed seeing the progress of the department along with making friends in the community. I would like to thank all board members for their dedication to fixing any and all issues, along with the professionalism in making the fire department a success. I'd like to thank the firemen and women for the hours and the efforts that they have volunteered to the community. I would like to thank Chief Rhodes, along with his family, for his dedication, long hours, and fantastic work ethic he has given the fire department, volunteers in the community. It is and truly was appreciated. Thank you all for your support over the years.
Yeah.
I have to go.
I gotta tell you that, you came into this board, in fact, there's a few more of you guys here that came into this board, we were on the edge of being not a fire department anymore. And your, leadership and your work and your ability to run a meeting and everything and work with these other guys, I think it saved our department, I'll tell you that.
I appreciate those. It's tough for me to leave, it's, because I look at it and I thought, holy smokes, because, I mean, I looked at, when I got into it, I'm not gonna lie to you, first two meetings, I thought, what did I do? But I, you know,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I know we, we're gonna, present you with something our firefighters are, and I want your address because you're gonna take off before we can get it finished, but.
We'll talk about that when we're done, because, yeah, it happened way too quick, but, you know, there again, I'm gonna finish out the meeting, and then, obviously, I'll resign. I went to the county, and they said all I have to do is just what I've already did, so it'll all be good, and it'll be in the minutes. And then with that, I'll say if the board has anything to say.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Learning experience, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Well, 98%. All right,
You know, as part of the new business, you probably didn't cover it, but, we were gonna advertise that opening. I think Jerry was recommending a month online, right?
Yeah, now that you've officially resigned, I think we need to put a public notice up on the website about it and in Nextdoor, which we've done in the past. But I was also thinking on the website, if we have an electronic version of the application form. Steve has some printed copies, but I'm not sure where we have an electronic copy that I could post on our website.
I don't think we had one, because the last time we did it, it was just in paper,
Well,
if I remember.
well, somebody had to type it up,
Yeah,
I
no,
could scan the one we got or something, Lisa.
Yeah,
right?
but then, they'd have to print it out and fill it
yeah,
because.
but we didn't have electronic, because if I remember right, we put them in the box out there for people to take, because we had like 4 people that we interviewed. It might have been before you,
So where did it come from?
I don't remember, because it was
It had
Sam.
to, somebody had to have typed it up, because it has,
Yeah.
I think it has our logo on it. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, I don't remember, because that
Okay,
was long
well-
ago.
All right, we'll work on that. Maybe I'll just need to type it up, retype it.
Any-
But we'll get that on the website and on Nextdoor so that people are aware of it. We do have one person interested in submitting an application already, so that's good. So, I believe that, our Vice President, Alan, will be filling the role of President, leading the
Those
meeting
shoes are
next month.
closed.
So we'll need to have on the agenda about review of applications and, you know, if you, I guess Alan should receive the applications, and then any you get, you know, maybe choose, I don't know if you want to have the chief and one other board member to review the applications with you.
What, review them as I get them then, or bring them to the next meeting? And we all.
Did you read, in the past, they were reviewed before.
We interviewed everybody,
But-
yeah.
You actually
Correct.
interview, so that should probably occur as you get them, so
Probably
that
as
the
soon
next
as-
meeting it will have been completed hopefully, and then we might be able to make a decision.
Because we had groups of 2, we had 2 out there and 2 in here, and we just flipped the people around who were out, because we had, I think, 4 people that applied. Okay, and then I will email you everything, so you can pull everything up. Any board member comments inside? Public comments? Not on the agenda? Okay, and our next meeting, I did make an error, so I just saw that. Next meeting is January 8th, 2020. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion?
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Do to shut that
That means
off.
you can't sign. I'll have to have Alan sign it.
Alan can sign it.
As long as it's not a check.